Welcome to a KeySmash Studios tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create regions using trigger boxes that will have a name property so that way you can have different types throughout your game. This tutorial is going to be 3 parts, and the first part we're going to be setting up our trigger box, and the second part we're going to be connecting our region name of our trigger box to UI so it actually displays on the screen, and the third part is going to be taking that text and having it fade in and out as the player enters the region. As you're watching, if you find this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. So to begin, we're going to create a new C++ class. You're going to click on Show All Classes, and then we're going to be looking for a trigger box. If you want a different shape to your trigger area, then you can just select whichever one fits best for your game, but I'm going to do a box in this case. And I'm going to name mine Trigger Region. And go ahead and click Create. So whenever you create a class like an actor class, you have lots of default stuff already put in for you, but for trigger boxes you don't, so we're going to be adding some of those default things that you would normally see upon opening these files. So we'll go ahead and start in the header and create a public section. And inside here, the first thing we're going to add is our constructor, so a trigger region. And then we're going to create our function that's going to be for whenever we enter the box. I'm going to name mine enter region. You can name this whatever you want. It just needs to be a U function, so that way you can add it as a dynamic for the player overlapping with the box later. And you're going to need to have these 2 properties. So it's going to be class AA actor, overlapped actor, and class AA actor, other actor. So again, you can have the name be whatever you want, but you need to make sure that you have these 2 properties and that you have it be a U function. Now we're going to go ahead and create our property that we're going to use to name the region. So U property, and we want this to be edit anywhere, so that way we can assign it its value inside of the details panel in the editor. And this is going to be an F string, and I'm just going to call it region name. And that's everything for the header, so we can go ahead and go over to our CPP. And inside here, we want to create our constructor. So a trigger region, a trigger region. And then I'm going to go ahead and give our region name a default to none. And the reason I'm doing this is so if nothing pops up on our screen whenever we enter a spot, we know that this is because something isn't working and not because we forgot to give it a name. And the same is true for if we enter a spot and that specific region says none, then we know that we forgot to give that area a name and we can go back and fix that. So that's just why I'm defaulting it to none, and now we can go ahead and do our overlapped actors. So on actor begin overlap. We're going to add a dynamic. And this dynamic is being added to this trigger box, and the function that we're going to be calling is our A trigger region entered region. So again, add dynamic will not be able to take in the function unless you have it as a U function and have those 2 A actor arguments. Now we can go ahead and create our function. So it was void A trigger region entered region, and then the arguments were class AA actor, overlapped actor, and class AA actor, other actor. And the first thing we want to do inside here is make sure that there is another actor. So if other actor is not null is what this is saying, and the other actor isn't this trigger box, so it does not equal this. And this is where we're going to put what happens when we enter the region. In our case, that's going to be displaying of text. But for this part, I'm just going to debug a message with the village name, so that way you can see that it is in fact working whenever you overlap with the actor, and so you can see that the property name that you add in the details panel is the one being displayed. So the way we're going to do that is just G-engine, add on-screen debug message. Our key is just going to be -1. We're going to give it a time of 2. I'm going to make my color red. And then my message is going to be the region name. So that's all we're going to be doing for this part of the video. It's very short, but the other parts are going to be a little longer, so I didn't want to try and cram those into this one as well. So now we can go ahead and go back to the scene and compile. And now that the compile is complete, we can go ahead and drag a trigger region into the scene. And I'm just going to make it bigger. And I'm going to add multiple, so that way you can see that you can do different names. And we'll have this one be valley, and this one can be mountains. And now if I go ahead and test and play, and run over to where this trigger box was, you can see the mountains in the top corner. And if I run over here, it says valley in the top corner. So as a recap, we created a trigger box that we gave a property name that we're able to adjust inside the details panel, so that way we can create different types of regions. Again, the next part will be tying these names into our UI, so that way we can actually display the name of the region on the screen instead of just debugging it in the engine. And then finally, that last part will be just taking the text that we've already created and just fading it in and out. As always, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can join our Discord and ask them there. We make videos here every Wednesday and Saturday, but we also stream games on Twitch Tuesdays and Fridays. We have a game on the Google Play Store called Blast Off, and we have an asset pack of kids' toys on the Unity Store. We also have a Patreon that has a YouTuber supporter tier, where you can get all of our C++ code from these tutorials. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.